Did you tell her the full price of the bike, or was it discounted? Okay, we will just leave it there.
Cut.
Here you go, man. In case you get too nervous and you need to start drinking water. Welcome back to another video, guys. Today I'm here with my friend Caleb and his Colnago V3Rs. Yeah, this is the highest end Colnago, right? So far? Okay. Funny story, we actually became friends when you messaged me on Instagram to feature your bike, and we started cycling together. And after so long, you are finally on the show. So Caleb, thank you again for coming. It feels weird to interview you after knowing you for some time. Not a fan of the color. I would like the yellow. I think that looks more professional. Maybe because this is used by the Tour de France, what's the guy's name? Tadej Pogacar. This is the exact same bike, right? Over to you to let us talk about your bike.
So hi, thank you for featuring my bike. First of all, this is a 2020 Colnago V3Rs. So it's a size 50 frame. Color is matte black with a yellow-green gradient accent. So by the way, this one has no paint. This one is raw carbon and the colors are just stickers. My stem is a Colnago SR9, which is an alloy stem, 100mm. And my drop bar is a Colnago HB01. It's a round type drop bar. It's not an aero drop bar. For my group set, I'm using Ultegra R8000 mechanical. For my front light, it's a Moon MX with a Garmin 830 as my bike computer. For my rotor, it's a Shimano XTR rotor. 160 at the front, 140 at the back. My STI is not Ultegra. That's the only... It's a Dura-Ace STI. My pedals are Garmin RS200s, so the one Shimano cleats. My wheel sets are Hyper 65, and I run 28C GP5000 tubeless.
How long have you owned the bike?
I've owned the bike. I bought the bike June 1st this year, so I changed to I upgraded to a new bike. I traded in my old bike from Hopleong because I bought my first road bike there last December. For top up, I top up about 7.
7K?
Yes.
And how much do you trade in the previous bike?
Around 1.9. Around 1.9.
So you would say the cost of the bike was about 8,000?
No.
Okay, how much would the bike cost in Hopleong if I were to go and buy it?
Okay, so for the V3RS, you cannot buy the built bike. It's not a built bike, so you have to like a custom build. So you buy only the frame set, then you customize.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much do you think your whole bike cost with the wheels and everything?
Okay, so for me, I bought this bike as an investment for myself. So it's for my health. So I guess the price here is priceless.
Okay. What's the weight of the bike?
So I just weighed it this morning with the Garmin and my lights. It's 7.88.
Okay.
Without the bottles.
Why V3Rs?
Okay, so like I started cycling more than a year ago. So during pandemic.
So COVID cyclist.
COVID cyclist. So because I couldn't go to the gym anymore because there's so much people there. So I decided to try cycling. So my first bike was a $300 China mountain bike. It's a famous local brand. It's a Wolf. You can see the carousel everywhere. It's $300. So I bought that. I ended up upgrading, spending more like 800. Then I was able to sell it off. Then I said I have to buy a better bike, like a mountain bike. I started mountain biking, so I bought a Scott carbon hardtail. Then after like almost a year, I said I want to try road cycling. Then I'm trying to find the right size for me. So since I live in Tiong Bahru, the nearest bike shop will be like Hopleong. So I first go there and see if there's a size. So I said to myself, if there's a size, I'll buy it. Then luckily there is. So my first road bike was a Colnago CLX disc white frame. It was a 9 kg bike. It was a 105 Groupset mechanical. I love that bike. They say it's a climbing bike, but I don't think there's a climbing bike that's 9 kg. But it gave me like a first-hand experience, good experience for road cycling. Since Hopleong has a trade-in program, so the trade-in program, you have to trade in the bike that you bought from them previously. Otherwise, it's not counted. So, yeah. So this, I was supposed to buy a aero frame, which is a Colnago concept disc, but it didn't have my size. Ryan from Hopleong recommended this one because I asked him if I'm going to buy a bike, it has to be the bike that I won't, replace anytime soon for the long term.
I want to ask on the trade-in program. Maybe some of our viewers might be interested with the trade-in program. So you said you only have to buy a Colnago or any other bike with them, is it? Or okay, and then they'll do that whole trade-in program. But from your point of view, when you were trading it in, don't you think you would have gotten more value selling it on the carousel market? And when you traded in, was it at a very much more discount?
So yeah, good question. So for the trade-in, of course, you won't make any profits. It's the bike shop who makes a profit. But for me, because the trade-in program is that they carry certain brands like Canondale, Merida, Colnago. So you can trade it in, but it's 50 off the value from the time you buy it, less 50. So that's the trade-in value.
50%.
Yeah, 50%. But it's a whole bike. You cannot trade in like the frame only. It's the whole one. So if it happens that you bought a bike from them, you have to keep the stock parts. If you're going to upgrade, you keep the stock parts just in case you want to trade it in. The reason why I traded it in because I don't want headache selling it in carousel. I don't want to deal with low ballers, that don't know how to appreciate the true value of the bike. Because some just want to lowball you like 50 off, 60 off, just to see what's your ballpark, where your threshold is. I don't want to deal with those people. There are a lot here in Singapore. So yeah, that's why I traded it in. And I know the quality of the bike shop, how they assemble the bike, everything, how good their mechanic are. So yeah.
What colors does it come with?
So the frame, now it has multiple colors now. So the basic ones, the first ones was a white and blue, black and red, then this one black and green. Then they have the ice, the blue one, and the red one. It's painted now. They have that. It's a limited edition frame. Then you have the Tour de France edition, which is really expensive. Yeah.
So I mean, you've ridden the more entry-level Colnago, the CLX.
Yes.
And how does it compare?
Okay, so the first thing I noticed when I first ride this one, my first day, it's not only stiffer, because stiffer is subjective. Depends on your weight really. So for me, I'm heavy. I'm 89 kg. So the first time I rode this bike, I felt that the stiffness, it absorbs more road buzz better than my previous bike. Whenever I hit a pothole or uneven terrain, I couldn't feel it. So it absorbs the vibrations well.
What other bikes are you considering besides this?
So my dream bike really was a Madone, because the way my style of riding is really mostly flats, but I mix in a couple of climbs. But yeah, I like to go fast, but I'm not fast. Yeah, Madone, but Madone is way out of my budget. So, and since there's a trade-in program for Hopleong, have to go.
How does this bike is on the flats and climbs?
This one, I have a personal opinion about it. So no matter what bike you have, it's really up to the person, up to the rider. So for me, I believe in a 10% bike, 90% rider. Super light. The frame only weigh about 790 grams for a size 50. Yeah.
What's the next upgrade? Why still mechanical Groupset, man?
Okay. Initially, of course, budget-wise, it would be more practical for me to go with mechanical. And also, like for me, it's a bicycle, so it's using kinetic energy. So for me, any electronic besides the bike computer and the lights would not make sense for me. Like, I'm purist in a way, but I would like to try electronic, probably the 12 speed in the future, but not now.
Okay.
My hubs, so it's recently discovered, so it's quite loud, as you know, for hyper wheels. So my hubs is quite unique right now. It's really silent. So because I put grease, but not a lot of grease, but it went silent. I don't know why, but I like it. Silent.
6 pages of Instagram Q&A. So this is the section you guys like, the Instagram Q&A. If you want to ask your questions, you can follow me on Instagram and you get a chance to ask your Instagram Q&A. 6 pages, man. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I had a lot of questions, but I didn't want to ask it earlier because probably someone would have asked the same question. Question 1, why not rim brakes?
Okay, so for me, I came from mountain biking, so that's why, and I like cars, so that's why I prefer disc brakes, period. Rim brakes, it might be cheaper, maintenance wise it's easier. Disc brakes are safer.
Are you concerned about weight, the weight penalty of getting these brakes?
So okay, I'm not really a weight weenie. It just so happens that my frame is light, but I'm okay with either 8 or 9. I mean, I came from a 14 kg bike, so for me, 90% rider. That's the most important. Train yourself. Yeah, doesn't matter.
If you could change the color of the bike, what would it be?
So I like a white frame because I came from my Colnago. I miss it. I miss the white color, even though it's difficult to clean, but it looks sleek.
Let's talk about the oval chain rings. Any positive changes after upgrading to oval chain rings? Second part, do oval chain rings make a difference?
So that is a good question. Majority of my friends here think it's a half-half, 50-50. So 50% say it's bad because it causes them knee pain after a while. And some say that it will significantly improve your pedaling efficiency. So pedaling efficiency is subjective also. Depends on you, actually, on how you pedal. For me, the first time I used this, I really felt something on my right knee. Quite a little bit of pain. Then the shop owner where I installed this, which is IR, told me like you're not using it correctly. So he told me that when you
Sorry, can we pause? There's a lot of wind.
yeah. Hello.
Okay.
Hello, is it me you're looking for?
Okay. So Tiam Singh, the owner of IR, told me that I was not using the ovals correctly. So he told me when you before the upstroke, you don't like pull up, you scrape. So for me, I tried and it makes sense. Actually, it's oval, so you can see this is the upstroke, so it's quite high, right? So when you put the power down, then upstroke it's lower. So it makes sense to scrape it other than pull up, because when you pull up, you're only straining your muscles here. So for me, I'm not a spinner. I'm more of a grinder ever since, because I came from mountain bike, so I'm used to the 38-11 gear ratio. So it's quite heavy for me at that time. Then when I moved to road cycling, I can only average about 76 and below RPM. So depends on who I ride with. So since I moved to an oval chain ring, even with a 15 tooth gearing, 52-15, I was able to spin about more than 80 now. So it helps with my cadence, increase my cadence. It's subjective also. So some people say, oh, you spin or you use torque. There's such thing as torque. So for me, it depends on the scenario where you're riding. So if it's an uphill, spinning might help for some people. But for me, I'm used to, I like resistance on my legs. So that's why just a proper stroke, it helps. So yeah, it helps with my cadence. That's it.
Why Winspace Hyper 65 on an Italian bike?
So I bought this September because I was joining the OCBC team time trial. Funny, but I figured that it will help me maintain above 40 easily. But it's true, it helped me, but my fitness at that time was not at its best. So I did not finish the race. I'm not ashamed of it.
At least you joined.
Yes, at least I got the balls to join, right? So yeah, so this one, because my previous wheel set was a full chrome Wind 40 DB. So it was a 40mm carbon wheel set as well, with alloy spokes, alloy hubs. This one is lighter. So that one of the convincing factors for me to get this one.
Is the carbon spokes more prone to break?
Same analogy as any carbon component, whether it's easily to break or not. So you have to remember, carbon breaks under high pressure, high impact, high pressure. So as long as you don't abuse it, you don't use it on trails or gravel or what, it should be fine. Should last a long time. Yeah.
Why not internally routed cable? Can you install this internally?
Okay, so I asked that already with Hopling's mechanic. So one explanation they gave me was, for mechanical, right, you cannot internally route the shifting cables, even though my stem is integrated, because for mechanical there's a certain angle that needs to be like that, so to shift properly. Otherwise, if you have like a 90-degree angle, it wouldn't. Yeah, the cable will bend. Yeah.
So on this, do you plan on upgrading to an integrated handlebar and stem?
Tempting, the Deda Alamera, yeah, the one that Tade is using, but yeah, it's not economical enough for, justified for me to get one. Yeah.
Colnago is well known for their C64 frames, which is the luck kind of frame. Yeah. So did you consider a C64 over a V3Rs?
Actually, I was choosing between a C64 and this one, considering that C64 is made in Italy. This one is Taiwan. C64, of course, is more expensive because of the paint job and the way it's handmade. It's handmade in Italy. At that time that I was in Hapleong, the C64 that's available for my size, I didn't like the paint scheme. That's why I chose this instead, and it's cheaper.
I think it needs a special person to appreciate the C64 because of the lux, and the paint scheme is very different. This is more neutral, more mainstream looking. Oh, this is a very tough question. I wouldn't know how to answer this. I will just wish you all the best. Keen to learn. Aside from heritage, what's special about the Colnago brand?
Because Colnago is not really popular in Singapore. Actually, I met one person who told me that, what they call Colnago? They call it cannot go. But I proved them otherwise, because actually Singapore sadly is a brand conscious country. So popular brands like Specialized, Pinarello, Bianchi, Villiers are the more brands that, upscale brands that people would buy. But for Colnago, I understand it's not that popular because the way the company was run also. It's not owned by Ernesto Colnago anymore. It was sold to I'm not sure if it was a Saudi firm. So that's why, and they started making like mass production of in Taiwan the frames. Aside from heritage, I think for me it's the quality of the frame still, even though it's not handmade in Italy. I see no issues. You don't see any like headset issues of SL7s, recalls or whatever. Nothing. So even with my CLX disc, I have no problem. Even though it toppled over West Coast Highway, it was still fine. Even with bruises on the frame, it was still fine. This one, I take care of it because it's not cheap. So
Wow, very good answer. You guys comment whether he passed that question. I think you did. Did you do your homework before this? Did you like Wikipedia where is Colnago or what is Colnago?
I just like researching on what I like.
Okay. I think I wouldn't have been able to answer that question as good as you. Is Faber hard with this bike?
Surprisingly, it's not the bike. It's myself. First time I tried Faber twice by myself. So the first one I tried 500 meter elevation gain. It was so hard for me. My heart rate was really high. The second attempt I did 1000. That one was easier because I did my pacing right. So it's not the bike. Surprisingly, for a 65mm wheel set, it's quite good in climbing because it's lighter. It depends on you. Yeah.
Did you blow your budget on the frame?
Yes, of course.
That's why the hypers, right?
Okay. So they think that I should get a Campagnolo Bora, like WTO, right? To Mac and EPS 12 speed. That's a dream setup. But in my dreams, but we have to be realistic.
Yeah.
If your budget doesn't meet the, why bother? Why put a big loan, right? If you don't have the money, don't spend it.
Oh, I love this question. Does your wife know about this bike?
Yes, yeah, she knows also about my previous bike.
Did you tell her the full price of the bike or was it discounted? Okay, we will just leave it there.
Cut.
I don't know if your wife will ever watch my YouTube videos. I hope she doesn't. Okay. Do you have a huge pulley wheel? Oh.
Yes.
Okay. So the question is,
I forgot to mention.
right. Okay, never mind. We have the question here. What's that huge pulley wheel brand? Does it shift well?
Okay, so I forgot to mention that I got a Tri-Peak 1214 oversized jockey wheel. So the cage is stock. I didn't change the stock because it's more practical. Why buy a ceramic speed that costs 600, 700, where you can buy less than 150 for a, yes, less than about 120 I think I paid for it. It's a ceramic bearing jockey wheel. The shifting wise, it depends on how well you tune your drivetrain. So it's just like every jockey wheel. The reason why I changed it because the Shimano stock one doesn't have a bearing. If you notice the Shimano only, like I came from 105, so this is from my 105. I noticed that there's no bearing. It's just an aluminum washer inside. So in the long run, I saw when I removed my 105 before, it has rust in it. So that's why I opted to change. That's the only reason, not the marginal gains or the smooth. I mean, it's smoother. You can feel when you're climbing it's smoother, but technically it's minimal. It really depends on how you pedal.
Shifting, does it make any difference?
It's the same.
No difference.
No difference. It's the same. It depends on how you tune the drivetrain really.
I'm a very negative person, so I would say that I don't believe you can feel the difference even with bearing or not. Which maybe I put you on a blind test. One with this upgraded pulley wheel, jockey wheel, and one without. No difference, man. Sorry to burst your bubble. Okay. Last question on the bottle cages. Too bad you forgot to bring it. Maybe I'll put the picture there. So the bottle is really small, and I believe these are magnetic bottles, right? Can you just tell us why such small bottles and how does it work and why magnetic bottle cages?
For me, it's really the practicality of the magnetic. This one is a Fidlock magnetic bottle cage, and the bottle forgot to bring. Sorry. As you can see in the picture, my bottle is a 450 ml. So it's the way I train, like my stamina, endurance. Because if I have a big water bottle, I keep drinking, then want to pee.
Last question. Oh yes.
Of course.
Oh, you want me to ask? Okay, you go ahead, man.
Of course, I'm subscribed. You guys subscribe. You see this? Don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, just just don't worry about upgrading. For me, because I started cycling not too long ago. I think for veteran cyclists here would understand, like, it's not really about the bike. Upgrading makes you feel good, makes you want to ride more. But ultimately, if you take it seriously, it's more on yourself. So you have to rest well, eat well. If you can do other activities aside from cycling, like running, working out, that would be good. But ultimately, the main goal for me is to be healthy for my health, nothing else. Not to show off my bike, not to say that, oh, I have an expensive bike, what do you have? No, it's not like that. So it's just for me, not for anybody else. So yeah, so thank you for yeah.
Thank you so much, Caleb. That wraps up the video. Talk too much. It's about 34 minutes. I think it's fine. I'll just chop or whatever that's irrelevant. I hope you guys didn't find this too boring. And if you want to be featured on my channel, DM me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram for cool bikes. Caleb, thank you so much again for coming out. And that's the end of the video. I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.